It's Friday! Yeah!
I like your fake energy.
Where's Ari? We are live and alive. This is Ari, the Data Queen, joined by analyst Hole Matt Moscardi, Jesse, the Money Whisperer, and Hazelnut Rollins. On today's weekly wrap-up, Damien gets triggered. I mean, that's it's every show.
How's that different from every day?
Social media trolls are allowed to make Sam Altman richer.
Okay.
Corporate governance experts pretend to be corporate governance experts. And our favorite headlines of the week. Yeah. We need Ari. We need Ari back. Where's Ari?
Petered out there. Yeah, Ari right now
She sells this show better than I do.
Well, first of all, I think you need to stop reading her copy. Like, you are not Ari.
That's
the
my
Data
favorite
Queen.
part of the show. It's my favorite. I'm a proxy.
All right. Should we?
I'm like BlackRock Voters' Choice. I represent Ari.
There are two changes today. One is that you are not Ari, and the second is that we are. Jesse's not here either, so we're replacing Jesse's part with headliniest of the week, in which
which makes no sense.
Which makes no sense. We're just going to read our favorite headlines for the week, and I will foreshadow this by saying all of the headlines that you chose are dark, terrible, depressing headlines.
I will add this too.
Why do that?
And the other good news is that we're already kind of tired and disgruntled because we just spent the last 3 hours talking about other stuff in pre-production. So our voices are already spent.
We were strategizing for the future of our content. So listeners,
come on.
If you've got an idea, let us know. We are open for business. Here we go.
Oh. I'm just realizing. There's only one vote this week.
That's correct. I'm choosing or you're choosing.
And luckily for the audience, I'm going to go pretty quickly. Story of the week. Reddit, IPO. They put their filing papers out yesterday. Reddit is going to IPO. First social media company, 5 years?
Are we happy about this? Are we like another... Here's capitalist-driven place to ruin democracy and humanity? Is that what we're celebrating with this
There are
IPO?
other parts of the show that cover Reddit, so I don't want to go too deeply. But here's my takeaway. I looked at the filing yesterday. First of all, yet another dual-class nonsense. I don't know how these are allowed.
Finally, someone in tech.
How are these allowed anymore? And you know what I realized, because I got all angry about Jeff Bezos' just ridiculous fortune over Amazon, a company that sells like plastic flowers. I don't know what Amazon does for anyone. But okay, if we're going to allow dual class voting shares, the shares that are worth 10 votes per share, those should be worth 0.1 of a share in actual real life value, right? We should have an inverse value. Why are they worth the same amount of money? Why are they allowed to manipulate shares in this way? It's completely absurd to me. I don't understand how we're going to keep letting this go. It's crazy.
I don't know. I think it's cute that you have these ideas.
Did I have this thought?
That you have these thoughts.
I'm putting it out. I'm putting it out into the marketplace. If you have a share that's worth 100 votes, then that share, when you go to sell it, is worth 1 over 100 of the value on the open market.
I think no.
Bullshit. It's bullshit.
I want to do the opposite, actually.
Yeah.
I think we should take votes for president and do dual class votes for president. I think some people should have dual class votes for president.
They have that in the primaries, though, right? Remember the super delegates that supposedly Hillary used to beat Bernie?
Those are fake.
She had super delegates.
But I mean, in the general election, everyone goes to the poll. I know we gerrymander in this country so that but I want every vote we should just be obvious that some people matter more than others. And we like to value people in that way.
Matt, we do have this version. I'm pretty sure that Puerto Rico, which is not a state, but a territory of the United States, they're U.S. citizens. Their votes count in the popular election, but they don't have electoral representation.
That's correct.
So isn't that a version of non-voting rights?
No,
Puerto
because
Rico?
we still count their votes. One person in Puerto Rico is the same as one person.
No, they don't get any electoral vote there. They don't get any. None.
Well, Okay. Well, I guess that's dual class ish.
They call that racism. That's what they call that.
But I feel like Iowa should get 1 share, 1 vote, but maybe like Ohio,
Massachusetts,
should get like 2 shares per vote. Massachusetts should get 12. Right?
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying, we're just gonna make it up. Let's make it up. Well, the real question with this IPO is, would you invest, knowing everything that we know about how dual class companies have effectively screwed? They've been great for you making money, but they've screwed up humanity, almost uniformly, right?
I wouldn't invest.
Would you invest?
I wouldn't anyway, because I think this model of social media is horrible. I think it's ruining. I unfortunately had a conversation with teenagers the other day where I suggested that
I already don't like this.
That not that social media should go away, but that you shouldn't be allowed to reach the world at once, right? Maybe social
throttling,
media, maybe social media can work in individual communities and friend groups, but this whole model where anyway, I don't know what we're talking about. You're asking me if I want to invest in Reddit? Why would I invest in Reddit? What do I care?
I'm asking anybody what their rationale for investing in Reddit is, given that you are handing in the IPO, you are handing money to the company. Only at the IPO. The secondary market is different, but at the IPO, you're handing money to the company in exchange for what? The idea that you can sell what you bought for more money, but you have no rights. Zero rights.
And I alluded to this in the opening, is that here's the one thing that I learned about that filing that I did not know, I don't think anyone knew, is that Sam Altman, the OpenAI CEO, he has secretly owned about 6% of Reddit this whole time.
Oh.
So he's the one who's getting rich off of this. It's Sam Altman. They say he's due to make about $500 million if the IPO is a successful debut.
You know what's horrible about that is it's not that it's Sam Altman himself. It's that it's still the same 12 people on
brethren,
Earth.
Same brotherhood.
They basically make all the money, all of it.
It's some guy named Ben Mezzarani. He's like a hedge fund dude in Texas. It's one of the co-founders, Steve Huffman. It's it's like a handful of tech bros who are going to make a ton of money off. Okay, let's move on. We promised a short show. The second big story of the week is I just want to highlight. I love highlighting ridiculous glass cliff CEOs, and there's another one out of Australia. The Woolworth CEO, Brad Bonducci, had a horrible interview in the media where he got angry at a reporter and he walked out because they dared to question him about greedflation. So he's out and they're replacing him with a woman. I don't know. I like highlighting these stories. I know you're not going to vote for it.
That's correct.
That's my second story of the week. Third story of the week. Back to these tech bros. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos completes a $9 billion share sale plan. I highlighted this earlier this week. He sold 50 million shares, which represented only 0.5% of his holdings, and he still walked away with $8 billion. This is how absurd this whole thing is.
And he just moved to Florida, which means he doesn't have to pay any taxes on these things.
Yeah.
So he literally gets all the money.
Yeah. So those are my 3 stories. They're pretty bad stories. I don't know. What's your vote?
I don't like any of this. I really don't like it.
Do you want to nominate your own? Go ahead. Nominate your own story.
No. I got to follow the rules of the make-believe game that no one's listening to. But I do need to respect them in some way.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go with the Reddit IPO. I'm going to go with the Reddit IPO.
That does seem to be the story of the week, yeah.
It's not even the IPO itself. It's just a repeat of the same thing. We had this whole discussion when Snap IPO'd. When was that? 10 years ago now? 9 years ago?
2017, maybe.
It feels like 40 years ago, but
it does.
But whether or not Snap should end up on an index, because Snap, 93% of the voting power was with the founders of Snap, right?
That was one of the most egregious examples ever, because I think they were offering non-voting shares.
That's
to
right.
the public,
which meant that you were buying it for nothing. If gambling's not allowed to be legal, it should not be legal to own a dual class company, right?
you realize it's 2024. Gambling is now like even Disney's getting into gambling.
But I'm saying, like, it wasn't legal at the time Snap IPO'd.
Sure.
Like, why could you buy the stock? Because it was a pure gamble. You couldn't do anything else. So there's a debate at the time about whether or not it should be on an index because you had no rights. What is the purpose of owning a stock if you're not actually an owner of anything except for the piece of paper that you have to find some jamook to sell
I'm with
later
you.
on?
You're preaching to the choir. If there's one takeaway,
we're just doing
if there's one takeaway from the thousands of hours of content we've created here about this world, it's that enough already with dual class shares.
They're
companies.
fake public companies.
It should be enough.
Put them on their own index called the fake public index.
Let's move on. Good list of the week. Come on.
Oh, I guess we move on with Move On Music.
You want me to do this? You want to do this? This is Ari. Ari selected 3 stories. I'll do it. I'll do it quickly.
All right.
U.S. lands unmanned Odysseus spacecraft on moon.
I like that.
Part of her write-up for this was "We're back, baby." Last night was the first time since 1972 the U.S. has landed on the moon. I didn't realize it was that long. 52 years ago. Wow. So that's the first story.
Yeah. The side note here is that NASA
not a company
paid a
owned by
private
Elon Musk.
company to.
It's not. Yeah, it's true. It's a private company, but it's not a company owned by Elon Musk.
Except that didn't SpaceX launch the?
Oh, I don't know. Sure, probably.
SpaceX launched this into space. NASA paid for it, and the company that actually owns it is Intuitive Machines, a different.
It is sad that we're privatizing NASA. It's depressing.
Like, why are we privatizing space? We haven't even gotten there yet. Can at least we admire it before we mine it?
I don't think you're going to vote for that story. Sounds like the second story.
I love the idea, though.
Second goodliest story of the week: Reddit plans to reserve shares for its big users in IPO. So, according to the proxy filing, I think it's 75,000 Reddit users who have amassed the most karma. And for those of you who don't know, which is probably everybody, karma is what you get on Reddit when you just troll a lot, when you post a lot, when you comment a lot. So basically, they're rewarding the biggest trolls on their website, giving them early access to the IPO. But as I pointed out, all this is going to do is enrich. So if these 75,000 people buy up this stock, it's just going to enrich 3 tech bros, basically. Like that's who's going to make money off of these. I know that the narrative is like, oh, great, the users are going to get like rich off of this, but that's not the outcome of this.
Here's the thing. You're reading the story and you can't even get to the end before telling us why it's not that good.
Sorry. Yeah, it's true. But here's the sick irony of this is that Reddit, kind of like I think of Reddit like I do Uber or Lyft. Reddit is nothing without its users. Absolutely nothing.
None of these companies are.
But these people are the company. These active users, right? So I don't know how there's 3 people at the top who own all the Class A shares worth 10 votes per share, and yet all the people who made the company are getting nothing. Basically,
back up. What is Uber when you take away the drivers? Like, if you took away the drivers who own their own cars, it's a map app. It basically shows you where you are. That's
people who used to hail cabs.
I mean, it's so pointless. Like, I like that Reddit, in Reddit's defense, at least someone is going to get a piece of paper that they might be able to sell to some other jamook for more money for being one of the drivers, quote unquote, of Reddit. Like, at least that's something. Uber is like, what is it? It's nothing without them.
Yeah, I'm old. I used to like the power of putting up my hand and having a car pull over for me.
Yeah, because you're not black.
I'm not. Absolutely not. Third goodliest story of the week: Tesla faces. Ooh, I like this one. Tesla faces rejection from locals for plans to expand German site. Ari has a good joke here. She says Berliners say 9, and that's not 9 the number. That means no in German.
I don't like that joke though.
So residents in this town were asked if Tesla should be allowed to basically dig up some trees to expand a plant over there, and they said no.
I'm gonna vote immediately on that. I'm gonna say that's the right.
I agree with you. That's the one. I mean, right?
I mean, there's
that's stakeholders at work, right? I mean, that's That's what we want people to do with their proxies. We want them to have a vote and a voice, and this is
shocking that locals in Berlin have figured out like when we have a vote and it matters, but investors have not yet woken up to the fact that they have a vote and it can matter. You can change the people and what happens. But
we had something similar in my neighborhood when there was a Dunkin' was trying to relocate. And the neighborhood said no, but of course the irony is that there's like 17 other Dunkins within walking distance. So what's the victory
like there's
here?
One over there instead.
Yeah.
All right, let's do Assholeiest of the Week. We're gonna rip through this show.
Come on, let's move on. Yeah,
let's rip it. I'm gonna slow us down though.
Oh,
your first asshole of the week is Judge Reed O'Connor.
Who's that?
Judge Reed O'Connor is the man who ruled this anti-ESG lawsuit against American Airlines allowed to proceed.
Anti-ESG lawsuit. Okay.
So there's actually a dude in American Airlines who sued them several times, for their wokeness. Once or twice were about COVID. Like he didn't want to wear a mask. He said they were forcing him. They're like, now he's sued about the pension fund that American Airlines offers has ESG options. And by having ESG options, they are not doing their fiduciary duty is what basically the argument of the suit is. Not that he was forced to use the ESG options. Also, he said the asset managers that American Airlines chose as part of this is like the weird part, right? Like I don't know if he wanted, John Smith's garage band, 401k as the option, but they chose like BlackRock or Vanguard, like major institutions. Because they chose institutions that offer ESG or do any ESG.
That's also bad?
That's bad. So he said they're not doing their fiduciary duty, and therefore American Airlines...
Really? We're this deep into this nonsense?
This is what the judge had to say. Quote, defendants' public commitment to the ESG initiatives motivated the disloyal decision to invest plan assets with managers who pursue non-economic ESG objectives through select investments that underperform relative to non-ESG investments. So what O'Connor is basically saying is the American Airlines was committed to using asset managers who didn't put economics first, who were woke, is what he's saying.
And where's the proof? And where's the proof of this, by the way?
No. Let me get to that.
Okay.
And they underperformed relative to non-ESG investments. That's the second part, right? The defendants, who is American Airlines,
this is a choice. This is their choice. Okay,
still a choice.
Going.
American Airlines said the plaintiff, like the guy suing them, didn't show any proof or have any facts that suggested that either they were woke or used ESG measures in a non-pecuniary way, nor did he even prove or show a single data point that suggested the funds underperformed. Not one data point.
Well, but Matt, this is just the story that's being told is that if a woman or a black person is involved or the environment, then it's not based on merit. And it underperforms. That's just the story being told.
Well, in a court of law, you would think, okay, the judge would say, well, do you have any leg to stand on?
Yeah, but this is probably a Trump-appointed judge,
well,
right?
Here you go. No, it's actually George W. Bush appointed.
Oh, W.
But here is this unbiased judge's history. Yeah. He wanted to repeal Roe v. Wade. He wanted to repeal Obamacare. He's anti-trans and writes it in decisions. He's part of the Federalist Society, and he's in Texas. He's a Texas district court judge.
Oh, good.
So here's what he wrote. Quote, at this stage, plaintiff need not plead the exact connection between the investment manager's ESG proxy voting and financial harm.
What? Why not?
He also said that where he says that any of the facts specifically showing how investment managers' funds underperformed are not. They can allege it without showing it.
Well. Isn't that the whole point of like a grand jury deciding an indictment? You have to like present some evidence that something's actually happening. You can't just come in with a story.
On Texas, all you need to do is find a judge who is.
It can't be like, I think my neighbor killed my other neighbor.
And then we charge them. Yeah, we go to trial. That's
based on my thought. Oh my God!
So Judge Reed O'Connor, number one, number two. This is a friend to the ESG community, a friend-ish.
He's not my friend. He's not my friend.
He's been on the show before many years ago. He's a Yale dean of management. Jeff Sonnenfeld.
He wouldn't even mention my name after 17 IPAs. He wouldn't even say my name out loud.
No, he would not. But he wrote this paper, and this is why I'm nominating him. Boeing is shaking up its good old boy culture, but the company still has a long way to go before it gets its production and financials right.
That sounds very folksy. That sounds very much like, where's the proof of any of this? That's my, as an analyst in this field, I want to know He's going to back this up, right?
Oh, yeah. No. Here's what he had to say. Quote, to the credit of CEO Dave Calhoun, which I already have problems with.
We're already crediting the guy who, the long-term board member, who was part of the culture that created the problems, who was somehow became the CEO out of that. So, really one of the good old boys. He's already crediting.
We're crediting a good old boy for shaking up the good old boy culture.
The good old boy culture, yeah.
But here's the rest of the quote. To the credit of CEO Dave Calhoun, in the weeks since, he has been laser focused on three crucial areas we suggested as Boeing key priorities: governance, supply chain, and trust with regulators.
That's cute.
But
I'm glad an S&P 500 CEO is laser focused, especially after this incredibly dangerous things happening with his airplanes.
What was he doing before? Was he playing Fortnite all day, and now he's focused on doing his job?
But that's what I'm saying. This sounds so folksy. This is like a story about Warren Buffett and his cuddly Diet Coke. You know what I mean? What is he even talking about here?
So I can get past some of the folksy, bullshitty, he's laser focused now.
Why is Jeff Sonnenfeld allowed to write bullshit?
Well, everybody
prove
does.
to me that he's laser focused. I know, but this is an ESG expert, Matt. This is not like Jim Cramer, right?
Well, here is where the problems start, because when you're asking for proof, and here's the next line that I
want to hear some proof. Come on.
Quote, already since Boeing MAX planes were first grounded in 2019, a vast majority of the Boeing board is turned over, with the formation of a new board safety committee consisting of almost entirely new members, as well as the creation of a new chief aerospace safety officer position.
Okay, you probably have some information to back this up, but can I just say anecdotally off the top of my head, and I'm hoping you have the data to check me on this, but I will say that since we've covered Boeing a lot, since 2019, a vast majority of the Boeing board has not been turned over. That is an incorrect use of the term a vast majority. Vast is like 85%, 90% of the board.
No, did not.
And it doesn't include elevating one of the board members to CEO. The other part here is that, Matt, and we cover this regularly, since 2019. A majority of every S&P 500 board has been turned over because every year, at least there's one or two additions and subtractions on every large cap board. So Jeff, you're just completely you're just, I don't know, you're just not even it's almost like you don't even know what field you're covering. It's almost like you're not an expert in your field.
So he's saying that governance and the good old boys culture is being shaken up because since that time, the majority of the board is turned over.
Do you have the numbers?
Two things. Number one, we've covered ad nauseum, show after show after show.
Yeah.
The people they've added are all connected to Dave Calhoun. Every single one of them.
Another problem. Yeah.
So what good old boy culture did you shake up when you
just
literally
because you're new doesn't mean
it doesn't mean anything. If
decimating
you're all connected,
a good old boy
we have
culture,
all the numbers to show it too. But here is the bigger data check, which is that the vast majority of the board is turned over.
This is what I crying bullshit on.
And that shows that they're actually focused on a new thing. Out of 79,000 active directors globally, not the S&P 500, globally,
Yep.
Just under 55,000 started since 2018. That's 70% turnover in the same time as Boeing.
Yeah, see? Exactly. Thank you.
Actually, according to the math,
it's a natural function of this world.
8 of the 13 board members are new, air quotes. Air quotes there because they're all connected, which is 62%. Boeing is worse than the average. They're actually lower than average.
Well, this is why I'm making fun of you, Jeff Sonnenfeld, because if you actually did the work in this field, you'd realize that like there's nothing new happening at Boeing. It's just a function of a company, right? Like
I just can't believe we could go
there's
out
natural turnover on these boards.
We could go out in the world and say Boeing's doing a great job changing up its governance with new members when the new members are connected to the old members, and they've actually done it less than every other company on average has done it.
And also, Jeff, to poke another hole in your folksiness is that I think if you ask all 500 S&P 500 CEOs if they were laser focused, they would all raise their hands and be like, include me on that. I'm laser focused
I'm
too.
definitely laser focused. Except for like one of them who's like, actually, I spend a lot of time with my Callaway.
Well, maybe the CEO at a company where our data shows that the influence is actually held by the founder chair. I mean, so that CEO's not really doing anything.
Mark Zuckerberg could ostensibly raise his hand and say, "I actually have been focused on just the metaverse, which is fun for me. I don't really care about it." That's
true. I mean,
else.
What Elon Musk might have a point that he's not like laser.
Yeah, there we go.
Elon, he's focused on other stuff.
There's Elon. Yeah, that has worked out well so far. And finally, this headline just struck me. Mark Zuckerberg jokes that Sheryl Sandberg raised him, quote, like a parent.
Well, this is part of the not taking women seriously like language that tech bros throw around, right? Because you have to treat a woman as a mom, right? It's a nanny.
Here's Zuckerberg in his own words, quote, "We joke that she raised me as a manager and as like a parent almost. And I think that's true in a lot of ways." You could tell he's trying to sound like cool or folksy about it. Like, like
it doesn't sound cool to me.
And then goes on, quote, "We were just a bunch of kids running around building stuff we thought was cool." So the lesson here is if you're going to start a company where you have all of the power, dual class shares, all the power.
The reason why there were a bunch of kids running around building stuff they thought was cool is the very thing I was complaining about at the beginning of the show is because the market allows them to be in complete control of everything and to grow at scale and at a growth pace that destroys things in its wake, right? Because they're allowed to do that.
But this is part of the lesson. If you're going to start that company, make sure you have all the power. And Peter Thiel is sitting on your shoulder telling you you're a god. If that company is likely to mark the beginning of the end of civilization as we know it, you definitely need to hire mommy with good skin in order to get through it so that like you can say later on
I'm ready to vote.
You had a parent. All right, what's your vote?
I get to decide.
It's just you. It's just one vote.
I love this. I am very proud to say that my asshole of the week is Jeff Sonnenfeld.
Oh, poor Jeff.
Come on, Jeff. You can do better than this. Why don't you come on the show?
Jeff,
honestly,
I wrote you an email like not that long ago offering you all the data. Like we will give you free data, Jeff Sonnenfeld.
I know you think you're above us. I know you have this air of superiority. But come on the show and talk about this because I think you can do better than folksyism.
Well, I'm not even going to try to sell you something. I would just give you the data that shows that all of what you said is wrong. I just want that. I just want to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think the takeaway here is that he's probably friends with Dave Calhoun.
Well, that's the conspiracy theorist in me immediatally went to. He must know someone on that board or Dave Calhoun himself.
Of course.
That's where
they hang out.
Because it was so puffy and so factually incorrect. All right, let's go on to our new segment.
Oh.
This is headliniest of the week.
All right, good. You want to go first?
Let's go back and forth. All of my headlines, and I picked 3. I'm just going to read the headlines. They made me giggle. That's how I chose.
You know what? I had like 3 headlines that triggered me and 3 headlines that made me laugh. So maybe I'll just get rid of the triggered ones because who needs me to rant anymore?
We did. I'll go to my. Wasn't even that goodly.
I'll skip over those. And just as a hint, the one of the ones that triggered me was Mr. Meritocracy, Bill Ackman. The headline is Bill Ackman spilled details about the time he was at the mercy of another activist investor only to be saved by a handshake deal with Jamie Dimon's bank. So there's the real meritocracy at work, right? Is that you have a friend bailing you out with a handshake deal, and that's the meritocracy. But anyway,
Jamie Dimon is not my friend. All right,
I'm not doing those headlines.
Here's my first headline that I chose.
Go back and forth.
And these are not about like them being big stories. It's not about that. This just tickled me. The first headline that I chose is LGBTQ 100 ESG ETF. Stock price down 3%.
Why'd that tickle you?
I just think it's funny that the gays are trading down. Like, first of all, I think it's a little bit funny that we have an ETF called the LGBTQ 100 ESG ETF. They had to throw ESG in there because if they didn't,
why do we need ESG?
Like, I don't know why that's there either. Like, it's not enough just to, like, you can't just have an LGBTQ 100. Isn't
it redundant?
Second of all, there definitely are not 100 companies where like is this just companies
what
that
are the criteria there? Yeah, what's the criteria for these?
Like LGBTQ, so maybe that's the criteria because there's not enough out LGBTQ executives necessarily to even have 100 companies in the US,
not.
right?
Yeah. We're seeing more. We're seeing more and more. But no, there's not enough. Yeah.
And then this is at AmericanBanker.com reporting that the stock price is down 0.3%.
Well, is this an anti-woke jab? Are they making fun of this
I don't
ETF?
know. Like American Banking News is
this made you giggle? Again, this made you giggle?
This made me giggle in part because like
there's something wrong with you.
It's so pointless. It's not even a story, and still it's here. I don't know. I just.
But maybe there's something wrong with you.
I like that. I like the idea that gay is trading down. Like. All right,
here's my first giggle headline of the week. BP manager's husband pleads guilty to insider trading after work from home eavesdropping. I don't know why this made me laugh, but I guess so. During the pandemic, an executive at BP, this is in Texas, she was working from home, and he kept listening into her conversations. Heard that BP was going to buy Travel America. I think it's like a bunch of rest stops or something, a bunch of truck stops in America, these stores. And so he bought 47,000 shares of this stock before. And then, this is where it gets weird to me, and then he admitted it to his wife, right? I don't know why.
Okay.
Because he immediately sold.
Because he made a ton of money.
He made $1.8 million.
Yeah.
He admitted to his wife. His wife then reported her husband to the company, and then she got fired, and now he is in trouble. Why is she getting fired, though? Why is she getting fired?
I don't know. She has to say words when you're working at home.
She was also forced home by her company because of the pandemic. What is she supposed to do? Build like a fortress? I mean, how is he not going to be like walking around doing laundry and stuff?
She basically got fired because her husband is a dick. That's pretty much all that happened. Like,
that's a crazy story, though. That's a crazy story.
All right, here's a good one. Here's the headline: KFC rolling out Chizza to American menus.
Yeah, what's Chizza?
So Chizza is actually 2 pieces of fried chicken topped with marinara and cheese, and they're calling it like Chizza because everything.
What are you talking about?
It's 2 pieces of fried chicken.
Oh, so it's Chizza. It's Chizza.
It's Chizza.
Right. It's not pizza. It's pizza,
but it's
not pizza.
But it's chicken, so it's
that's true.
Chizza.
I'm gonna say it's Chizza.
I'm gonna say, but pop quiz here.
Yeah,
is Chizza a racial epithet? It does sound
the way
that
like joke makes it sound. That your joke makes it sound like one. So really, you should get beeped for that.
That's a headline.
If Emma Lurking were here, she would beep you right now.
That's a headline. I'm not making a joke. The headline is KFC rolling out Chizza to American menus. And
Chizza.
It's
pizza.
Not Chizza because it's chicken.
All right.
I don't know.
Okay. You know what? I have one. I have a headline that actually matches yours, although I don't have as much gusto behind it. It's very simple. Here's my headline that matches your stupid headline. Starbucks introduces new pork flavored latte.
No, I'm out. I'm out.
But there's no name like yours. It's not like pig tay or
what is
pork
pork flavored latte?
I don't know. I glanced at this story. I think this is happening.
It's in China, right? I know this is
Lunar
in China.
New Year in China. It must be the year of the pig, I guess. So maybe they just drip some delicious
like
bacon
hoisin
grease
sauce.
in,
Like what is it like?
I don't know.
I don't like this at all. All right.
I got to admit to you though, sometimes when I make bacon, which is very rare, but sometimes I do kind of like steal some of the grease and I put it in other things I eat.
Not
so
coffee, not your latte. I imagine.
No, but I'm not above it. I'm not above it.
Already, I don't like you for this. All right, my final headline here is, I just like that the wording of this more than anything.
Okay.
The growing popularity of degrowth.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, I don't know that it was on purpose, but it's sort of like announcing. You don't know either. Like they could have just been saying it. All I know is that like it feels like the headline could have been now trending. The word trending, like it's just dumb. It's just like it's.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think they argued about the growing popularity of degrowth versus the growth of degrowth?
Oh,
would you like the growth of degrowth?
The growth of degrowth would have been way better.
Do you think they argued about that? You prefer the growth of degrowth?
Yeah, I prefer that because that feels more like a joke. Like they would know that was a joke. Like, this one feels like it was accidental to me, like the growing popularity of degrowth.
My final headline, it goes into my one of my favorite. Speaking of the folksiness of Jeff Sonnenfeld, one of my favorite categories here is the folksiness of Warren Buffett. You know, the world famous CEO over there.
No, explain who is that person?
Berkshire Hathaway.
Sure, yeah,
but this is just like he's the king of stupid articles, stupid folksy headlines. It's not his fault, but here's the headline this week. Here's the headline this week that tickled me. Okay, this is a long headline, so you might want to brace yourself.
I'll get a drink.
Who put this out? Because this is Yahoo Finance. This is one of the longest headlines I've seen in a while. Warren Buffett drinks 5 cans of Coke per day at 93 years old, but he was a dedicated Pepsi drinker for 50 years before his neighbor convinced him to switch to the nectar of the gods and invest billions.
Wow.
That's the whole headline. That's a crazy headline, no?
First of
all, a lot going on there.
Like, so he's 93 and he drank Pepsi for 50 years before his neighbor. So he's been drinking Pepsi longer, like since birth. He was drinking Pepsi.
I just love how many different things this headline writer had to throw in there. Like, how many? Why do we have to? What are we supposed to focus on here? That he used to drink Pepsi. That someone called Coke the nectar of the gods.
Yeah, that's that one.
What are we doing here?
I don't like that it was ever.
There's a lot going on there.
Nectar of the gods. That's not. And then he invested billions in Coke.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
All right. So how are we doing a winner of this?
Oh, let's do it. Let's move on. Do we have music to move on?
Yeah. Do we want to move on? We're not picking a winning headline of the week.
Oh, I see. We have 6 headlines to choose from.
So it's LGBTQ 100 down 0.3%. KFC rolling out.
You don't have to say them all. You don't have to say them all.
But I want to. Chizza to American menus. Growing
Chizza,
popularity of degrowth. BP manager's husband pleads guilty.
Eavesdropping.
For eavesdropping. Warren Buffett's nectar of the gods.
Don't read that whole one.
And Starbucks pork flavored latte.
Oh
man! I think we both get to vote on this. I have a hard time. The one that gave me the most feels was BP manager's husband pleads guilty to insider trading after eavesdropping, but only because you described it, right? Like that's just a jerk husband is what that is. Yeah. You divorce that guy. He cost you your job. He's probably going to jail. But the one that made me like physically feel something was Starbucks introduces pork flavored latte.
Well, inversely, I was going to go with the KFC rolling out Chitza to Chitza or whatever. To
Mostly because I don't want to say that anymore. I feel like I'm offending somebody.
So
it's a tie.
What we're saying is that the winner is huge corporate conglomerates coming up with new horrible, unhealthy food items. Right?
That's the winner.
Yeah.
Let's go on to who won in predictions.
Mine's quick.
We got one from Ari, too.
In honor of Sam Altman's secret holdings of Reddit, my winner this week is Rich Jerks.
Oh, come on.
I'm just in a bad mood this week.
I know, you were really down like all morning.
Yeah. Well, I can't get... one thing I can't quit, and the media... We're the only ones who portrayed this story accurately. The media blew this one. Is I can't quit the thought that Sam Altman was somehow a hero.
Yeah.
When the board rightfully tried to get rid of him for basically doing everything that against what OpenAI stands for, and the two people who fell on the sword were two female directors at OpenAI. I just can't quit the fact that the media botched that story and still has not reported it accurately. He's now the folksy hero of tech and
the folksy hero
AI
making $500 million on his Reddit IPO,
making $500 million everywhere. He already had 20 islands. He's making another $500 million.
And the playbook is so classic because he's going in front of Congress and begging them to please regulate me. I can't help
put up
myself.
Guardrails. We don't know how to save humanity, so help us.
I know we're going to destroy the earth, but we need you to stop us from doing it. Come on.
Yeah.
Get over it.
But again, because the media botched one of the most important corporate governance stories in the last 5 years, he looks like a hero now. He's the hero.
I think he looks like a
because
D-bag.
all the workers supported him. Everybody was in shock that he was suddenly fired. He just looks like a good guy. Anyway, that's my winner.
Ari has a winner here that I don't understand. Yeah. Do you understand this one? Do you know what she's referencing?
Read it.
All right. She says the winner is Twitter employees who ignored Musk's orders to give reporters access to everything.
Yes.
Way to do your job in the face of a bully, and I hope you've already quit.
So the story that we didn't cover is that the Twitter employees actually kind of saved Elon Musk because this is during the Twitter files. Elon Musk gave permission to these because he really wanted to. He was really angry at Jack Dorsey. He was angry at the so-called woke Twitter, but so he gave permission to all the reporters to access all of the user data information, everything. Which is, against, of course, you
can't according to the rules of the thing, sure.
Right, but Elon Musk was just pissed off. But so the Twitter employees secretly safeguarded that data and information and said, no, you can't do that. I mean, so they basically saved Elon Musk and saved, I don't know. They saved, because he might have gotten in trouble for that, I suppose. Anyway, that's the story. I
don't know how they're winners. I don't like that. I don't like that one. I think the winner of the week is pork flavored anything. That's what I think.
Okay.
I think adding pork flavor now to anything just seems like...
Well, let me ask you this. Yeah. The KFC rolling out the Chitza, what was there pepperoni on it?
Yes, there was.
All right, so you're right. That's the pork, right? Isn't pepperoni...
Pepperoni
or is that beef? What is
pork.
It?
It's pork. Oh, jeez. What a...
I don't actually even know.
What kind of meat Luddite are you? It's definitely pork. It's a sausage.
It is, okay.
Pepperoni's
a
sausage. Yeah.
Okay, but can't you make sausage out of turkey?
Yeah, but only 3 people in Germany make that. Not turkey, beef. Turkey sausage is for people in California. The rest of us are just eating pig. That's the rest of us.
All right, predictions.
I have one.
Yeah.
Why don't you do yours first?
My predictions. Sam Altman. We're just talking about Sam Altman. He buys something.
Oh. Well, that's funny because my prediction is very similar. My prediction is Sam Altman buys all the Chitza.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's too...
If you've got $500 million and it's there's not that much supply, you just buy it all up.
That's too blue collar. That's too I don't know that he would... Isn't he a more of a California kind of free-range oat milk kind of guy?
I don't know. He's doing yoga on an island somewhere. That's it. That's free.
Hey, the only good news here is that with Reddit IPOing is that at least they will have to disclose data now regularly to the SEC, and we can at least officially make fun of them when we talk about companies. And
that seems like a
make fun of their
small
board.
consolation prize.
Yeah.
Congratulations to us. We are Free Float. That is Hazelnut Rawls. I am your analyst, Tom Matt Muscardi. We are back next week with more shows and more things
hopefully
going on.
Hopefully with Ari.
Jesse's out for I think most of the week.
I have some inside information. Speaking of the BP husband, I think that next Friday, the return of Chantal the intern.
Wow.
I'm hearing rumors that Chantal the intern is coming back.
Chantal is going to make us all look stupid for a show. Until then, goodbye.